Now we're looking at images coming in from different parts of Ukraine. Very heartbreaking images of the kind of devastation and destruction where you have a journalist also who's been killed. In fact, we're looking at merciless troops. They're attacking as they inch closer to Kyiv. Several areas have been completely reduced to rubble, many of them resembling ghost towns. This is what Ukraine now looks like. Most parts of the country is now ravaged, and we're looking at journalists, the second who's lost his life. Now, once a bustling city of over 30 lakh people, we're looking at this kind of devastation that stares at the face of many civilians who still stand brave, wanting to fight for their country. Now, Russia continues to rain missiles on key Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv. Air raid alerts have been issued in several major cities, and sirens have been activated in Kyiv, Lviv, Dnipro, Odessa, Vinnytsia, and Cherkasy. According to reports, loud explosions were heard in Kyiv suburbs. A weapons factory in the capital city was heavily damaged in a Russian attack on Tuesday. And outside the factory, shopkeepers and helpers were seen sweeping up glass and other debris there. In fact, in a bid to capture Ukraine's crown, Putin is also raining missiles on the residential building of Kyiv. At least 3 were killed, dozens have been injured. Meanwhile, civilians are no longer bearing the brunt of Putin's missiles. The Ukrainian Ministry of Defense claimed that Fox News journalists were killed in Russian firing. The camera person and producer were unfortunately killed, while the anchor has lost his leg. Fox News, in a statement, has now confirmed this news. Amid fear of the capital city, a curfew has now been imposed in Kyiv for the next 36 hours.
Вільний народи вільної країни. 8 років війни на Донбасі. 20 днів повномасштабного вторгнення. 3-й тиждень закінчується. Ми всі хочемо миру. Якнайшвидше. Ми всі хочемо перемоги. І постійно є таке відчуття, що ще трохи. І ми здобудемо те, що належить саме нам, Україні, по праву. Але ще потрібні зусилля, потрібне терпіння, ще потрібно боротися. І працювати кожному на своєму місці, кожному, в тому числі нашим представникам, нашій делегації у переговорах з Російською Федерацією. Це важливо. Складно, але важливо, тому що будь-яка війна завершується угодою. Зустрічі тривають. Як мені доповідають, позиції на переговорах звучать вже реалістичніше. Від артилерійського удару російських військ загинули ще 2 журналістів. Українка Олександра Кувшинова та представник американської Fox News П'єр Загржевський. Ще 1 журналіст важко поранений. Обстріл стався у Київській області. І це ще одна вагома причина, щоб посилювати західні санкції проти Російської Федерації.
A bench on Curfew Street. The street which used to be full of people in the heydays, just before the war started, this street is full of people all the time. There are a lot of very nice bars, restaurants in the street, very big showrooms of all expensive things coming from Europe and all parts of the world. And right now, this street is totally deserted. You hardly see anyone in this street. There is going to be a complete curfew tomorrow onwards in Kyiv city from 8 p.m. today, that is 1 hour from now, till day after morning 8 o'clock. 60 hours complete curfew. Nobody is allowed to move out in these 60 hours, not even the press. And the reason for that, one could be because the shelling of the city has increased by the Russian forces. Maybe to avoid people getting hurt by this shelling could be one reason. But the more important reason, I think, is that there are a lot of special forces people from Russian army who are in the city, who entered the city before the war started. And there are also suspected Russian agents here, which can do sabotage activities, can create disruption anywhere, because the Ukrainian army will be busy now on the outskirts of the city fighting the Russian army, and that is the time these special forces people and these agents are likely to create sabotage activities and likely to get active. Besides this, in Kyiv city, the situation as of now is quite calm. For last 6 hours, no bombing, no air raids, no missiles whatsoever, unlike in the morning today when there were 2 big explosions and then shelling heard almost continuously for 1 to 2 hours. Now it is relatively calm, but that does not mean that everything is okay. Just 11 kilometers away from city on the outskirts, Russian army and Ukrainian army are fighting with each other. It's a fierce fighting going on. We cannot hear that in the city center right now, but it is going on as I'm talking to you. and it's a fierce fight for Kyiv now, because Russian army is slowly inching towards Kyiv, and they are almost on the at the entrance of the city now. So that is the reason probably this curfew has been declared, and that is the situation now in Kyiv city. This is Rajesh Pawar reporting from Kyiv city for India Today. Marina, what do you think is the situation of birds and animals in this war?
I think the situation in Ukraine it's not good because
Look in the camera, please.
more people left. There are pets on house and another place, and sometimes there are go out. There are pets to the play yard. I don't know in English.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's not normal. Because pets don't have eat, pets don't...
They don't have food. You mean they don't have food?
Israel don't have food. And I have now cats, one cat in my house, and I don't know what this cat, but I think this is a cat who lived in a house.
Now, as Russia closes in on Kyiv, Mayor Vitaly Klitschko has called on civilians to camp in bunkers as precautionary measure. Let's have a listen to this reaction.
We see the result of bombing. Civilian people died. Last morning we was one district Abalon where people killed. Today, in other apartments building, we don't know exactly the numbers of people. We have not entrance to every floor, but right now, close to 50 people actually evacuate. A lot of them injured. We give the full support to everyone. I call to everyone, every civilian, please spend the time, if it's possible, in bunkers.
Now, relentless attacks, bombardments, civilian killings, the gory sights of destruction has now become synonymous to Russia-Ukraine war, even as Ukraine continues to defend its motherland for 21 days long. Missile attacks in Kyiv and strikes in Lviv paint quite a truly disturbing picture there if you see on that war-torn country. Let's have a look.
Death and destruction everywhere. From capital city Kyiv,
complete building has been destroyed, and there was another blast which I saw just before this. It was in the middle of a road. Nearby buildings were damaged, but it fell on a broad road, so not much casualties. But here I believe few people have died and a lot of them were injured.
to Ukraine's western city of Lviv.
Air raid sirens up again, blaring in the city of Lviv. People have been going into the bomb shelters. Not many, quite a few of the apartments over here do not have bomb shelters, but the parking and the basements are where they're moving.
Russian missiles are raining misery. This four-story residential building in Kharkiv was reduced to rubble in seconds, killing at least 2 people. Ukraine has alleged Russian airstrikes have made evacuation attempts dangerous. The relentless Russian assault and the West's risk-averse assistance has forced Ukraine to climb down. The country has reaffirmed it will not join NATO.
Four high-rise buildings in Kyiv were bombed this morning. Dozens of people were dead. They shell schools and universities. It is clear that Ukraine is not a member of NATO. We understand that. We are rational people. For years, we have heard about the alleged open door policy, but we have already heard that we will not go in there.
While Russian forces are advancing, the war is proving a costly affair for Moscow. The UK has imposed sanctions on 370 more Russian elites. Other US allies are also expanding sanctions to cover more Russian firms and oligarchs.
It's important for Canadians and the world to know that Canada will continue supporting Ukraine and its independence, integrity, sovereignty, including its right to defend itself.
Russia has hit back. It has vowed to reduce dependence on the West.
We will solve the problem, and the solution will be to no longer depend on our Western partners, be it governments or companies that are acting as tools of Western political aggression against Russia instead of pursuing the interest of their businesses. We will make sure that we never again find ourselves in a similar situation and that neither some Uncle Sam nor anybody else can make decisions aimed at destroying our economy. We'll find a way to eliminate this dependence. We should have done it long ago.
Since the start of the war, hundreds of civilians have lost their lives to Russian bombings. 2.8 million people have fled the war in search of safe zones. The 5 rounds of talks have so far failed to yield a ceasefire. Bureau Report, India Today.